Hello students, in this video we are going to cover a poem by Thomas Hardy, Are You Digging on My Grave? It is a dialogue between a dead woman who is buried under a grave and an intruder who is disturbing her peace by digging on it. Disturbed by the sound of digging on her grave, the dead woman guesses who the grave digger is. She assumes that he is her husband or a close relative or an enemy. The truth is contrary to what she thinks. She learns that it is her pet dog who is digging. The dead woman is touched by the devotion of her pet, more so because others have forgotten her. Her husband has married a wealthy woman. Her relatives are resigned to a life without her. Even her enemy is no longer interested in her. Only her dog has remained true to her memory. But the truth of dog's confession reverses the situation. Even her dog, like everyone else, has forgotten her. He is digging on her grave to hide a bone for future use. Thomas Hardy creates an unreal situation and develops it with a mix of wistfulness and humor. Thomas Hardy was born in Dorsetshire, England. He was a son of a builder. He started working as an apprentice to an architect at the age of 16, but the financial constraints of his family left him with little hope of a university education. The travails of his personal life colored his worldview. The underlying themes of many of his novels and poems is the struggle of man against an indifferent and dark force. Hardy wrote poetry in abundance and grouped his poems under the title of Wessex poems. The poems revolve around ironies and disappointments of life and love, the making and failing of human relationships, and the crisis of individual faith. His philosophy of life earned him the charge of being a pessimist. Hardy achieved fame for novels like Return of the Native, Mayor of Casterbridge, Tess, and Jude the Obscure. But his heart belonged to poetry. 7 volumes of his lyrics, published in different years, were subsequently included in collected poems. Hardy's poems are simple but striking, lyrical in feeling and expression. They are colored by sadness and irony. Let's start reading. Are you digging on my grave, my loved one? Planting rue? No, yesterday he went to bed. One of the brightest wealth has bred. It cannot hurt her now, he said. That I should not be true. In this stanza, the lady in the grave asks who is disturbing her by digging on her grave. She assumes that it must be her husband who has come to plant a rue on her grave as a mark of his grief. But the voice of the intruder tells her that he had forgotten her. He had gone to marry some bright rich lady. Because her husband supposed that it could not hurt the dead woman now if he was not faithful to her. Then who is digging on my grave? My nearest dearest kin? Oh no, they sit and think, what use? What good will planting flowers produce? No tendance of her mound can lose her spirit from death's gin. So in these lines, the dead woman again wonders who could be digging on her grave. She thinks it must be her relative who has come to offer flowers at her grave. But the intruder tells her that it is not her relative. Her relative thinks that it is of no use visiting her grave. Tending her grave could not bring the dead woman back to life. But someone digs upon my grave. My enemy? Prodding sly? No, when she heard you had passed the gate that shuts on all flesh soon or late, she thought you no more worth her hate, and cares not where you lie. The dead woman thinks that it must be her enemy who is digging on her grave to disturb her. But the voice of the intruder tells her that her enemy no longer cares for her. When her enemy heard that the woman was dead, she forgot her hatred. She no longer cared where she lay buried. Then who is digging on my grave? Say, since I have not guessed. Oh, it is I, my mistress dear, your little dog, who still lives near. And much I hope my movements here have not disturbed your rest. The dead woman is still wondering who could be digging on her grave. By now she knows that it is not her husband, her relative, or her enemy. So the voice of the intruder now tells her that it is her little pet dog who lives nearby, and he hopes that its movement have not disturbed her peace. Oh yes, you dig upon my grave. Why flashed it not on me? That one true heart was left behind. What feeling do we ever find to equal among humankind a dog's fidelity? So the dead woman now expresses her happiness. She learned that it is her little pet dog who is digging on her grave. She is glad to know that there is at least one sincere heart left in the world to love her. The dead woman feels that the human beings can never equal a dog in faithfulness and loyalty. Mistress, I dug upon your grave to bury a bone, in case I should be hungry near the spot, when passing on my daily trot. I am sorry, but I quite forgot it was your resting place. So now the little dog shocks the woman by telling her why he is digging her grave. The dog tells her that he has come to bury a bone here. The idea is that he may take it out whenever he feels hungry while passing by this place. He is sorry he had forgotten that it was her grave, her resting place. The poem reflects Hardy's vision of human relationship in life and beyond. It is a study of the false illusions under which one lives in life. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the explanation. If you have any questions or you want me to cover any topic, please let me know in the comment section. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.